This video is brought to you by Gamersubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. There have been a lot of Ratchet Clank games throughout the years. A series that started all the way back in ye old 2002 quickly became a PlayStation icon and now boasts a measly 14 games to its name. I've been a fan of this series since I was 5 or 6 years old, which for reference, Unc just turned 29 recently. I love it to bits. I've played most of the games, and this year I wanted to finally just lock in and platinum every single Ratchet & Clank game I could. Which thankfully we're in luck, because there's only 2 games we can't platinum in the series, that being Tools of Destruction and Quest for Booty, as neither have any trophies. Which is honestly a bit of a heartbreaker, because I think Tools of Destruction is just straight up one of the best in the series, and I would have loved an excuse to go back and replay it. I have also already platinumed 3 games in the series, that being Rift Apart back in 2022, as well as the original Ratchet & Clank and Q-Force or Full Frontal Assault, which we completed last year, and both of which have their own dedicated video. That leaves me with 9 games left still to be platinumed, going from the PS2, PSP, PS3, and even PS4, which is where sadly the series output met a steep decline. All of that's to say that today we're starting with Ratchet & Clank 2 Locked and Loaded, or going Commando, depending on your region, and we'll be going after these platinums one by one throughout the year, so make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date. Ratchet & Clank 2 is an interesting game in the series for me because before jumping in today, I couldn't tell you anything about it. Unlike Ratchet 1 and 3, which I replayed again and again as a kid, I only ever played Ratchet 2 the one time, and it didn't really leave a lasting impression on me, apparently. I don't recall disliking the game or anything crazy like that, just preferring the other games in the trilogy. Ratchet 3 specifically, I played that game over and bloody over. But because of that forgetfulness, I was really excited to revisit this game today because from all the Ratchet fans I know, and especially online, this game is regarded as a top 2 or 3 game in the series. So let's try and see what little Jimmy was maybe too simple to fully appreciate back in the day. Ratchet & Clank 2 picks up after the events of the first game. Chairman Drek has been defeated, and Ratchet & Clank are now true heroes of the galaxy. But business is slow until Fizzwidget, the CEO of Megacorp, requests our help recovering a stolen biological experiment from a mysterious masked thief. This has us going across the galaxy until a bit of a twist happens, but I'll get to that soon. In the meantime, if you played the first game or watched my video on the Platinum Journey, wink wink nudge nudge, you know what to expect here. Lots of platforming and shooting our way through levels, buying and swapping weapons as frequently as possible because here we need to level up each weapon in the game for a trophy I'll talk about later as well. Which brings me to trophies and how little this game cares if you just play the game for funsy. You're going to get absolute bugger all in terms of trophies by just playing through the game. Outside of collecting bolts, you won't get much for your effort until you beat the final boss. So this is where the skill points and platinum bolts come into play because I like my trophy dopamine, and getting like 4 trophies for a good 12-hour playthrough wasn't really gonna cut it. Now the platinum bolts are scattered across the galaxy, only rewarding us trophy-wise when we collect all 40. However, we can use them while we play to add mods to our weapons and make them a whole lot better, so they are worth going for regardless. Skill points, on the other hand, are where the bulk of the trophies are unlocked. There's 30 challenges in the game, most of which are planet specific, but some are for things like maxing out your health or unlocking all the guns, which won't really be possible until New Game Plus. But we can make a good head start in our first playthrough, so that's exactly what I did. On each planet, unless I couldn't access a bolt or a skill challenge due to not having a specific piece of equipment, I made sure to grab them my first time through so I could essentially speedrun my way through New Game Plus. Most of the skill points aren't too bad to grab your first time through, you just need to know what to look out for. Like on the first planet Oozla, where the skill points have us shooting down pterodactyls or breaking everything in the Megacorp store. Oh, that's for a trophy. Prehistoric Rampage. We are on the board a lot quicker than we were on Ratchet 1. And I'm here for it. Alright, that one was a little stressful. More vandalism? It's typically something that you could very easily do your first time through the level if you knew about it, but it's probably not something you're doing unless you know it's for a reward. Very unlikely to just stumble across them, if that makes sense. Anyway, that's really the gist of this first playthrough. Go from planet to planet, ticking off challenges and collectibles while making our way through the story. On Makdar Nebula, we won a jackpot on one of the slot machines, which was genuine gambling and was taking me a long ass time to get said winnings. Clank needs a new pair of shoes. Me too. My flat ass pancake feet are struggling. In the arena, defeating Chainblade with just the wrench, which is very simple. He has like 2 attacks to worry about and dodging them is a cinch. Wrench Ninja Blade to Blade. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Definitely would have been easier with an upgraded wrench. Taking out B2 Brawler without taking damage, which that one at this stage was decently tough. I'd probably save this one for later and attempt it when you have a few more gadgets and leveled up your weapons to make it less of a gauntlet and more of a spam attack until it's over. I think I got it. Yes, let's go. Holy crap. To be hit or not to be hit? That was hard. Destroying 10 robots with the crane on Endako. Hey, let's go. Operate heavy machinery. Beating the hoverbike race on Barlow in less than 2 minutes 10 seconds, which is way easier than the first game's hover race. I mean, seriously, I believe you could get this by accident. It's so much easier. Speed Demon. Alright, that took me 2 attempts. That was way easier than Ratchet Clank 1. And blowing up a snowman in Siberius because no snow day fun is allowed. You can break a snow dam. Alright, we're on the board for today. Let's go. Love it. Oh, and getting 50 and 100,000 bolts. Not for skill points, I just don't know how else to jam them in here as we go. And there's some of the few gimme trophies this game has. More bolts. More! Hey, bolt scavenger. So that's 100,000 bolts, I think? It's here in the story that while we don't catch the thief, we do reclaim the little fuzzball and hand it back to Fizzwidget, after he destroys our ship in the process and clumsily ejects us out of the car, leaving us stranded on Tabora in the meantime. Something very iffy with old Fizz, but I'm sure it was just an accident. Anyway, we need to collect some crystals to fix up our ship, and of course, the skill point here is to collect every last one of them. A long and admittedly boring process, but it does help level up some of our weapons thanks to all the enemies we need to fight along the way, and we get a trophy and a stack of bolts too, so not too shabby. Bang, we got all of them. Didn't even need the Map-O-Matic. Heal your chi. Let's go. Alright, that was not too bad. It was kind of chill, honestly. It's here we also discover the thief's identity. A fellow Lombax, Angela, who was a former scientist for Megacorp and warns us that the cute fuzzball is a danger to the entire galaxy. So we need to get it back from Fizz, who does a damn good job at evading us until the final planet. So back to the bolt hunt and skill point grind we go. Like destroying every building as Giant Clank on Dobbo. Where you at? Robo Rampage. Taking out 12 birds on Joba. We'll come back to this planet because it has some doozies of challenges that I wasn't touching until I had more guns and more health. Bye bye birdies. See ya later. Protected all the tourists and turned 16 squirrels into sheep on Tadano. You're my hero. I have no idea what that's for, but I feel like we got a gimme skill point there. Try to sleep! I'm trying to sleep! Grinded the power cable without taking damage on Bolden, which is always a fun challenge. No shocking developments. Thank you. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Shot down 14 ships on Snivelak. Moving violation. Yeah, we're sort of getting near the end of the skill points, which is nice. Another grinding rails without taking damage and protecting the 4 civilians in the bank on Damacel, which was very finicky to unlock. You really need to take these enemies out quickly and try not to hit civilians with your own weapons, otherwise there's a good chance you'll just need to try this one again. Midtown Insanity. I love the grind rails. Sounds odd. I love grinding. Hey, safety deposit. Is that the second trophy for this planet? What? Oh, and Damosel is where we see the full chaos of the Fuzzball, or as it's called now, the Proto-Pet. This thing is a menace, really aggro, and multiplies like crazy, so yeah, we need to find a way to stop this thing before it goes mainstream. And lastly, we had some more crystal mining to do for all 101 on Grelban, which is so much more annoying than the first time round. I mean, the enemies here are just absolute tanks and just not worth taking on. This did get me to a total of 1 million bolts collected though, which was a plus, and is where I took a quick pause before facing the final planet because I wasn't quite ready for New Game Plus yet. Be a moonchild. Alright. Like, those ones aren't too bad. These enemies are really annoying, and I don't actually know if they go away. But yeah, they're not too bad. They're just like long and kind of just really repetitive. Bolted down. Alright, I think that's for 1 million studs. And I think the total we need is 2 million, but it's going to be easier in New Game Plus, which we'll probably have to do anyway. I think we do anyway. I was good on platinum bolts up to this point, which, FYI, screw these damn ring races. These took me the longest of any of these challenges and was genuinely tilting me. But it's a good segue into the first skill point we still needed to go and get. Fully upgrading our ship. Now, to do this, we need a heap of raritanium, which you mostly only grab from the space combat missions. This can be a long grind, unless you save up for the nuke as soon as possible, because with it, you'll get all the raritanium you need within minutes. It is broken how quickly it piles up. Just fire one nuke, take out a ton of enemies, pick up the raritanium, and reload the level. It's that simple. There we go, nice ride. Alright, that's for the fully upgraded ship, which with the nuke is just an absolute gimme. So buy the nuke as soon as you possibly can, and this trophy is no problem. So that was an easy get. Now it was time to head back to Joba for an intimidating challenge, and well, I think it's fair to say a broken one as well. We had the impossible challenge where we needed to defeat 60 rounds in the arena mode, and Wrench Ninja 2 for defeating all enemies with just a wrench and without dying. Let's start with the impossible challenge because it's pretty straightforward. It's an absolute gauntlet and something I didn't expect to beat on my first try. I was more so trying to use it as a way to level up some of the last few weapons I had left. The key here is just having enough health to be able to afford a few mistakes, which by this point I had plenty, and just keeping an eye on your ammo situation, which thanks to the Sheepinator not costing any, and a lot of weaker enemies, wasn't a problem either, letting me save my big guns for the boss at the end and beat it on my first try. Holy smokes, that was pure luck. I went in there and I was like, let's give it a go. That's impossible? No, it ain't. Easy. All that left was the Wrench Ninja Challenge, and boy oh boy was this a pain. I swear, I did this at least 5 times and it just wasn't popping. I had the wrench maxed out, plenty of health, and I was cruising, especially since returning to a planet means there's less enemies than the first time. The only thing different I did on my successful attempt was try and avoid accidentally entering the turrets, which wasn't easy, but with my health I could afford to play a little stupid. Again, no clue if that actually does anything, or if you quickly exit a turret it doesn't count, but for whatever reason, when I did that, it finally worked and meant I was ready to head off to the final planet Yeedle and finish the game. Oh, thank God, we got it. That is such a ball ache for no reason. Wrench Ninja 2 Massacre. Alright, that's the final skill point for playthrough 1. The rest, stuff we have to do in New Game Plus. Gathering the final 2 platinum bolts. Platinum power. Alright, the platinum bolts, not too bad. I'll get to the skill points when when we're up to it, but yeah, platinum bolts, just good fun to go and find. And then it was twist time. So, big shock. Fizzy was in fact not a good guy. Well, not actually Fizzwidget. It's actually Quark in disguise to blame us for the Protopet's chaos and save the day himself to become loved once more. This goes badly almost immediately as the Protopet mutates, eats Quark, and now it's up to us to stop it in what is a pretty tense boss fight. I mean, a few wrong steps and you're cooked. But we do manage to subdue the pet, Angela finds and saves the real Fizzwidget, Quark is spat out again, and thanks to swapping the batteries in the device that mutated the pet, the gang neutralizes the proto-pet, restoring peace to the galaxy once more, and that's Ratchet & Clank 2's story done and dusted, with us ready to head into New Game Plus. Mutation complete. Alright, that's the story done. Now, I think what we really need to do is just go an absolute boatload of bolts. I need to buy the Rhino, I need to buy the, whatever, the Zodiac thing, I need to get the armor. That's like 3 million bolts right there we'll need, so... We still had a few trophies to grab in New Game Plus, but really, they all had to do with getting a boatload of bolts. At least 3.5 million for the last 2 weapons and the best armor in the game. Thankfully, I had other stuff to do in the meantime, and in New Game Plus we get a bolt multiplier, so it isn't too painful. Nowhere near as bad as the original at least. I mean, there's no need for a bolt glitch to take the pain out of this grind. In New Game Plus, I also needed to fully max out my health bar, which just meant killing a lot more enemies, and essentially speeding through the planets as fast as possible. Leveling up the few remaining weapons I had left, purchasing the Rhino 2 as soon as I could, making speeding through levels even faster. Now it's time. Alright, we just need the Zodiac. Collecting 2 million bolts thanks to once again collecting all the crystals on Tabora. There we go, I got bolts to trade. There's 2 million accumulatively. I think we need like 600,000 and we could get everything that we need. Which in turn let me buy the Carbonox armor. Yay, carbon! Woo! God, I look sick. And after about 20 more minutes of playing, maxing out my health bar, purchasing the Zodiac gadget, which I never got to use because that was the final weapon I needed, giving me the final skill point for purchasing and leveling up all the weapons. Yeah, nano to the max. That is a lot of health upgrades. The BFG for the Zodiac. And destruction time for getting all the skill points, I think? No, super skilled. What the hell's destruction? Oh, that's for getting all the weapons. My bad. My bad. Yeah, we should have like 1 trophy left if I'm not mistaken. And all that left me with was going to the Insomniac Museum, only accessible after getting all 30 skill points, which we can do right from the menu screen, and that was Ratchet & Clank 2's Platinum, done and dusted. Museum tour. He went Commando. That is Ratchet & Clank 2's Platinum, done and dusted. And I don't know why I didn't really remember this game. I had so much fun with this, and that just makes me even more excited to revisit Ratchet 3. So, after 18 hours in total, what did I think of Ratchet & Clank 2's Platinum and the game in general? I have to be honest, this was such a blast. I don't know why as a kid I never really gravitated to this game, but it was a mistake. This was great fun from start to finish. The story is quality and genuinely funny. The gameplay is a solid step up from the original. Strafing is just such a huge inclusion and makes the gunplay so much smoother and just more fun to play. The collectibles are hidden really well, and the skill points provide a quality challenge at times. I mean, there's so many skill points I didn't really go over here that needed getting done that are tough but pretty fair challenges, like going through a level with only guns from the first game. Sounds fine, but doing it as you go can be a tough task. Platinum wise, I wish there was a bit more to do with just progressing through the story. I am always a fan of getting that trophy pop along with a story or game without needing to do anything extra. For me, I think it helps introduce trophy hunting to more people that way, but maybe that's just me. But outside of that, it was a quality trophy hunting experience that let me really dive in deep into the game, which I always love. From the collectibles revealing how much of the map is actually interactable, the ship combat feeling far more fleshed out, the upgrades, Easter eggs, it's all things you don't really get to see if you just play the game to get to the end. This was the perfect start to this series of Platinum runs, but it's only gotten me more excited to get to the next game. Ratchet 3 is gonna be a fun one, I can already feel it. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to leave a comment with "He went Commando" to let me know that you made it to the end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below and let me know what game in this series you're excited to see most. Shout out to the channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to members of the Bear Club: A.It's Grey J, Dark Wolf, Zafado, Lug Knights, Golden Sparrow, Lord Alex, Kuzma, Jarvis McGee, Steel Vanguard, and Briganius. Thank you all, and I'll catch you in the next one.